Later this morning, Oregon Governor Kate Brown is expected to give an update on vaccinations. The big question, will she move up the timelines for when some groups will become eligible to book their appointments? Earlier this week, the state announced everyone in Oregon 16 and older can start booking their slots on May 1st. 2 months ahead of schedule. That was originally the eligibility date for frontline workers like grocery store employees. The Oregon Health Authority told us it was considering moving those groups up so they're not competing for spots with everyone at the exact same time. This morning's press conference is at 11 a.m. You can watch live right here on air, and we're going to stream it on our website and social media pages.
You know, we have talked a whole lot about mass vaccination sites like the one at the Oregon Convention Center in Northeast Portland. But what's it like to actually get an appointment there? Our Pat Doris found out when he took one of his family members through the process.
It was really interesting to see the convention center from the inside without any PR people around to spin me. One of the things I found when I took my mother-in-law there was that there's a pinch point in the garage leading from the parking area up to where the vaccination happens. And if you're mobility challenged, you're going to want to take the elevator. But here's the deal. They only put 4 people on the elevator at a time. So that can be a backup. But other than that, it was a highly efficient, well-run operation with friendly, professional people. There's about 3 different checkpoints where people make sure that you've got the right paperwork. If you don't, you get shuffled off to another place where they help you get the right paperwork, and they help to make sure that you really are scheduled on that day. There are people looking after you the entire way. If you have questions or it's confusing, they'll help you, and mostly it's not. But once you get registered, you fill out a little bit of paperwork, and then you go and stand in line and wait for someone who's going to give a shot to flag you over. There's lots of people doing it, so there's very little wasted time. From the time we got there until the time we left, it was 45 minutes. And they're running 6,000 people a day through there right now, 5 days a week, 7 hours a day. They're actually modifying it. They did last night, so as of Friday now, it's going to be modified. So they'll be able to handle about 7,000 people a day. So look for that next week. They should be able to get about 35,000 people in the week through the convention center. Now, with a lot more vaccine expected to come into the state, could they really ramp that up? Maybe. We'll see. Right now, a number of the medical professionals who are working there are also working their regular job 5 days a week, and then they come over and work a 6th day at the mass vaccination center. So after a while, you're going to have some burnout, and it's going to be hard to find enough people to actually staff that. So I think that's one of the things they're grappling with right now as they try to figure out what comes next. But it was very impressive to see behind the scenes, and now I know why so many viewers have emailed us telling us that the convention center, it's hard to get the shot scheduled initially, but once you do, it's a wonderful experience. I'm Pat Doris, KGW News.
Yeah, that is really helpful perspective. So in less than 2 weeks, 2 million people in Washington will become eligible for the vaccine earlier than expected. Governor Jay Inslee says those over the age of 60 and those who work in places like restaurants and construction can start booking appointments on March 31st. Bryant Clerkley will join us coming up in our next half hour with more on what the governor has to say.
All right, let's get to 3 things to know about COVID right now. Number 1, the U.S. could reach 100 million shots given out today. President Biden is expected to reach that goal well ahead of his 100-day deadline. Right now, the U.S. has vaccinated nearly 98 million people and is giving shots in about 3 million more arms every single day. Number 2, a heated back and forth on Capitol Hill yesterday between Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and Dr. Anthony Fauci. It was about whether those who've already had COVID or have been vaccinated should keep wearing masks.
You want people to get the vaccine? Give them a reward instead of telling them that the nanny state's going to be there for 3 more years and you got to wear a mask forever. People don't want to hear it. There's no science behind it.
Well, let me just state for the record that masks are not theater. Masks are protective.
And number 3, new research shows getting COVID twice is rare, but the elderly may actually be more prone to reinfections. Danish scientists tracked more than 11,000 who tested positive, finding only 72 had a second positive test within 6 months. In fact, a previous infection provided about 80% protection from a second bout in younger adults. But that immunity level dropped to just 47% for those over 65. And those are 3 things to know about COVID right now.
And now to a Sunrise follow-up. For the very first time, the family of a man shot and killed by Clark County Sheriff's deputies talked with reporters. Devin Haskins has more on what they say happened the day Kevin Peterson Jr. died.
It's been 140 days without him, no texts, no nothing.
Surrounded by family, Kevin Peterson's mom, Tammy Bell, says the last 4 months have been hard to deal with.
We're still looking at the door, wondering when he's coming through. We're sad.
Kevin Peterson Jr. died on October 29th in Hazeldale.
Kevin is an outstanding young man, well loved by his family members and friends, those who knew him.
According to investigators, the 21-year-old had arranged to sell 50 Xanax pills to an informant at the Quality Inn in Hazeldale. He ran when detectives tried to arrest him. A short time later, he was shot and killed by Clark County deputies. Kevin's dad, Kevin Sr., wants justice.
All 3 officers involved held accountable. You know, you shot a man in the back while he was running away. He didn't. They weren't in immediate danger, so therefore their service pistols shouldn't have been drawn.
The day after the shooting, Sheriff Chuck Adkins said Peterson fired a gun during his interaction with police. Almost 2 weeks later, a team of independent investigators walked back that statement and instead say Peterson never fired a gun, but did have one on him.
To me, it was a little irritating for him to put that out there, not knowing the facts.
The family also addressed recent comments made by Clark County Judge Darvin Zimmerman on a hot microphone.
Who's Kevin Peterson?
The black guy, they were trying to make an angel out of him.
He was overheard talking about Kevin and his dad.
The next day he wakes up with dollar signs in his eyes, and George Floyd, attorney, said already contacted him.
Zimmerman apologized for his statement and stepped away from the bench indefinitely.
Darvin Zimmerman doesn't know me, and the comments that he made about me and my son doesn't reflect who we are as men.
The family has filed a tort claim against the sheriff's office, which is a precursor to a lawsuit. Their lawyer wouldn't give an amount the family will be seeking, but said similar lawsuits were in the $10 to $30 million range. In Vancouver, Devin Haskins, KGW News.
People who live in Portland's Pearl District pushed the mayor for some answers about the ongoing vandalism and destruction there.
In a town hall last night, people said they were concerned they'd be hit again during planned direct action protests this coming Saturday.
And property damage is hurting small businesses, including minority businesses. It's certainly hurting residents. It's costing an enormous amount of money in a time when we are in a pandemic.
They feel the people doing the damage aren't facing consequences. Deputy Police Chief Chris Davis acknowledged some people are being released from jail quickly because of COVID protocols, but he did add law enforcement is trying to streamline part of this process.
We assigned a group of detectives that the DA's office reaches out to anytime they don't have enough to charge a case, to get that follow-up assignment to the detectives so we can help them get whatever it is that they need to issue more cases.
One person spoke in support of those behind the vandalism and said it'll continue until the mayor listens to protesters' demands, like significantly defunding the Portland Police Bureau.
Well, the madness is in full effect, especially here in Oregon. We are basketball crazy at this point. The Pac-12 champion Oregon State Beavers will be in action this afternoon for their first round game. They're the 12th seed taking on 5th seed Tennessee. Tip-off is at 1:30 our time. Orlando Sanchez will have all the highlights coming up tonight. And then tomorrow night, it's the Ducks. They're facing Virginia Commonwealth at 7 o'clock. Gonzaga is set to play Norfolk State on Saturday as well. The Bulldogs are the overall #1 seed and a favorite to win the tournament. So go Ducks, go Beavers, go Zags.